Okay. Can everybody see this okay?
Yes.
The literary. Which is all messed up. And dead ending. Who changes these words? This was a hard one, wasn't it?
This was, to me, easier than the jury charge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But the punctuation is,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. But this is, you know, close, real close to the spoken word, how it sounds.
Yeah, the punctuation for me.
Yeah. And you see rear ended here is hyphenated.
Sweet.
And I'm sure, you know, there are a lot of different ways that you can punctuate this, which would be correct as well.
How do they have it?
Kind of looked. Kind of looked. You did or you didn't. That's what the attorney would say.
Wait. So they just put a whole bunch of periods.
Mm-hmm.
it looks like they sentenced everything off.
Because right there where it says, right here, there's a yield sign. I put a semicolon, and then I believe it sits right here.
I think that would be fine.
Okay. Because it's like they're talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it almost is like kind of a change of thought, a little
Yeah.
bit. Right here's the yield sign. I think it's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that word under rest scratched out?
Why? Okay, I have a question about that whole like paragraph. Okay, why?
This one?
The second one.
Uh-huh.
So on my paper, they have marked that I should have had a comma after it says, I had pulled up and stopped right about here and then was looking out into traffic this way, comma, and then that is when I was hit and then pushed out straight into traffic. Why?
You did put a comma there?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I left it as and.
You should have.
A comma?
Yeah, if you're doing a comma, because
Because
they're two separate. You could actually have two separate sentences, and when you could have two separate sentences, if you separated, if you don't put a comma before and.
But because it's like an open-ended thought. He's saying I was.
But it's still two independent clauses joined by and. See?
But he didn't finish his thought. He said
It doesn't matter
I
if
pulled-
you've got a verb and a subject in each clause.
It just doesn't seem like a whole sentence. It seems like a bunch of descriptive words, but it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a.
It's a little tricky.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
really
think a
tricky.
comma, because it's like, you know, I pulled up and stopped right about here, and then I was looking out into traffic this way, and then that is when I was hit and then pushed out straight out into traffic like that. That's just like,
That seemed like one long sentence to me.
well, but it
Because-
doesn't read well.
Yeah.
You know,
You
it-
have to punctuate for the reading.
Mm-hmm. And these days you can start sentences with and, but, so, or.
Okay.
So I think I don't think it would be incorrect. I just think that it would be just,
So
it's not a
period?
run-on sentence really, but it just needs a little break in there.
So a period would be better?
I think so.
Okay.
And definitely this comma here.
Let's see.
Which wasn't in the text. Now, and I would have put a period here. Then I kind of looked once I got pushed out into traffic and saw that these cars were coming, period. So I kind of cranked the wheel real hard and came back in here and pulled it to the restaurant. I think a
I
period
think I
would make
punctuated that
it
wrong.
easier to read.
I did, and then, comma, because of the way that it was dictated.
Uh-huh.
I did, and then, comma, just as I was sitting there, stopped, comma, the car rear-ended me, and then just went out into traffic.
Yeah, I think that would be
I
correct.
did it the same way too.
Yeah.
I did it the same.
Okay.
It's really hard to punctuate the spoken word, just because there are so many starts and stops, and it just doesn't flow real naturally. But this is the kind of answer you would get in a deposition. It's almost rambling.
It is. It did seem very
Mhm.
rambling.
Yeah. Now, I don't understand this. My face, or nothing really, hit the windshield.
Yeah.
Okay. The mirror flew off. Huh. Are we ready for the next page?
Almost.
Almost. Okay. Sorry you missed this one, Kelly.
Oh, you weren't here?
See, you might even want to do dashes here.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
How-
Now I'm really confused.
It's covered, it's a time thing, I guess. I don't know.
How, it still doesn't make sense. Like, my face or nothing really hit the windshield or anything like that. Like, or anything like that part. I feel like there should be something there.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Actually, it should be my face dashes, or nothing really hit the windshield or anything like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Is this too dark in here for you guys to read your papers?
I remember.
Ready for the next page? See, and starting off with and then, and then, and then.
Why wouldn't you put those two sentences together? I remember my chest hitting and then slamming back, and then the mirror flew off and hit me on the head.
Well, the first one you're talking about the chest, and the second one you're talking about the mirror
Okay.
and hitting in the head.
It just seems very broken.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, especially when it starts with all that and then. But that's the way people talk.
okay.
You know.
Would it be appropriate to put a comma after and then?
I would think so.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
But I think, remember, we learned when a sentence is introduced by something, not to put a comma unless it's 4 words or more.
Right.
I think that's why.
But it's so repetitive.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so repetitive.
See, like this one here, just because it's so, like right here, comma, there's a stop sign, but since it is so short,
That's why I put a semicolon. Right here, there's a yield sign, semicolon.
I just mean in this one sentence though, just
Oh.
like putting, you know, a comma and then comma. Well, right here, comma, there's a yield sign, but it is so short
Yeah.
that you don't
I
need
think
it.
whenever I edit it and I read it out loud to myself, I read it and I'm like, and then
Mhm.
the mirror flow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think
I try to put the punctuation in as I'm going, but when I edit it and I'm reading it,
I also think if I would have left it the way that it was for like a day or two and then came back to it, I would have punctuated it completely differently.
Yeah. Well, let's see what kind of stuff he had inside. Did we all capitalize Jeep?
Yes.
Yep, this is a very strange one.
My punctuation is so. Wait. What?
See, I would put a comma after mirror. After I made the turn to get out of the way, comma, I slowly looked, comma, watched in the side mirror, comma, to see where it came from.
I didn't. But it makes sense. I didn't, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and all the you knows, you always surround those with commas. You know. My father used to tease me about saying you know all the time.
My dad used to tease me about saying these ones and those ones.
Well, yeah.
I just couldn't help it. I'm like, Dad, these ones. And he's like, these ones?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Uh-huh. I was tending to my baby. Next I saw her and saw the damage in front of her car.
Why are those separated?
These two here,
Yes,
I would have put a comma.
that's what I did.
Next I saw her and saw the damage to the front of the car, and then I knew it was her because of the damage and yeah. Now here, basically, she got out and said, just because of the fact, basically, that's not a direct quote.
Yeah.
This is basically what I heard her say. So I would not put these quotes.
Yeah, me neither.
After I'm sorry, it's a period or a comma?
Comma.
It's a comma. I think you could put a period safely. And, you know, and she goes. I would not put those quotes.
Brown me out. Who was this person?
I have no idea. You know those Jeep drivers. Now, I guess these quotes, you know, I said,
has some damage here and stuff.
Yeah. Did anybody put into as one word here? Because that would be incorrect.
I didn't get that one.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Did anybody get further than this?
No, she says to stop at 80 after following me into there. But on mine, she stopped at, I pulled into the restaurant.
Yeah, me too. I pulled into the restaurant.
Oh.
Period.
Yeah, well, that's.
Well, that's because that's where the mark is.
Okay.
Yeah. This is how we,
I thought that,
this is how we count on the stopwatches using these marks. So this is really where it ends.
I thought it was at the end of that paragraph.
See, but if I would have known that it wasn't a complete sentence according to this, I would have put ellipses at the end.
You don't think this is a complete sentence? And then she saw me and saw that I pulled into the restaurant? It's a complete sentence.
It is?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right, if it's not a complete sentence, that would be correct to do, for the ellipsis. Are we ready to move on? Are we done with lit? Okay. I'll have to read that later to find out how it ends.
Right? The Q&A got me too. Like, it wasn't hard, but it was
I was
descriptive.
so close on the Q&A and the lit.
So was I.
But there's just times when I was following this word where I forget to focus.
Yeah, me too.
And so I drop like 10 words at a time.
Yeah, me
But
too.
if it weren't for that, I'd get it. Sure, you're charged with it.
Mine was trash, and I didn't even have time to edit it because I had to go to work. So.
So we have two basic rules, first, and then new paragraph for second.
That makes sense.
They should have capitalized state in that third paragraph on line 13.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions on this page? I think count one should have been
Hyphenated.
capitalized.
Capitalized.
Yeah. Now, you don't usually see the government capitalized though, do you? Right here?
Well, in this case, it's the state, but they're just referring to it as the government.
Yeah,
But the state should be capitalized.
yeah.
Because in the, what do you call it?
I mean, they're interchangeable in this, right? The government and the
What's
state.
that? It's on the tip of my tongue. The state, the case.
The style?
Style, yeah. They would have had state versus
Right, yeah.
government.
And here you see the semicolon and second comma. That is the correct way to do that.
So it'd be wrong to put a period and then just just a new sentence?
Let's see. I think it'd be okay to put a period, but not just a comma.
No, but a complete new sentence.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody finished with this page? I'm watching you, Estella. So is that it on the jury, or one more page? Any questions on this page? See, in this sentence, a separate crime is charged in each count, so we're talking about counts. And then we're talking about other acts, so that is a good place to start a new paragraph.
I need to remember to put my paragraphs.
Paragraphs are good. Peacefulness. That would have thrown me. Everybody done? Smell it. Now for our favorite.
Why would the second question be a question?
I don't know, I was just looking at that. I guess, Mark, I understand you were having a party on this particular night? But I probably would have put a period.
And then, is the first question, is that a polite question or a question?
I counted them all as polite questions.
And
The
all
Could you
first-
state your full name?
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
That is, more of, it's not really
it's a
a
request.
question, it's a request, yeah.
Same with the
Because-
third one, the third question.
Well, and that's how I felt with all the could yous.
Usually it's just the first one.
So could you tell us what type of drinks were at your party? That's not a question? I mean, that
It
is
is,
a question?
it's a question, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is with the very first one, but that's the one that you can put a period and it's correct.
So I feel like the kind of response for the first one and could you tell us what kind of drinks are at your party? Could you tell us if the beer was in
You know, you
I
could
feel like it's
probably-
the same kind of response.
Polite request, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went back and forth on those.
Me too. Yeah.
I think you could do it either way
Okay.
and not
Okay.
be incorrect.
Could you tell us how many cakes you had?
See, it looks like someone put a question mark here, so there were no soft drinks.
That's what I did.
And a lot of times maybe it's the inflection,
That
what you
was-
hear.
Yeah.
questions on this page? Stella?
Why isn't there a hyphen between half and kegs?
Well, because there's not one in full kegs.
I thought there would have been. If it would have said,
I have a full keg of beer. Or a half keg. No, yeah. Maybe if it was like a half full keg.
oh, okay.
Or like
Because
a-
they're really, literally, that's what it is a half keg. Or a full keg.
I think I looked it up, because I was thinking the same thing. I think Merriam-Webster straight up said it's 2 drinks.
Okay.
Half keg? Oh,
Yes.
that was even in the dictionary?
I think it was full cake, but whatever
Yeah.
it was, I applied it together, which isn't always right.
Because I thought it was like just a shortened way of saying I have a half a keg of beer. You know?
I think if it's a half cake party or a full cake party, then
Right, something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
sense in my head.
Beer outlet.
Why would it matter whether it was light beer or regular beer?
Because light beer has less alcohol, I think,
No,
doesn't it?
it's like calories.
I thought it was also an alcohol
I think it is.
percentage.
I think he's just trying to establish
Because
how-
light beer tastes like water to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I don't even drink beer, so.
I don't know.
I know some people can get a 6-pack of Lone Star Light or something, and it doesn't nearly have the effect of regular.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could probably go through a whole 6-pack of Lone Star Light by yourself and not even get a buzz.
right, you just go in the bathroom a lot.
Or eating Coors Light. you know.
Yeah.
But
I think he's just trying to establish how intoxicated everybody was at the party.
So, did the dictation say where they were purchased?
Well, I
Because that is I think the people at the place they were purchased.
Yes. Oh, I spelled. Dang it.
It says, well, I think the people at the place they were purchased.
It really should be where they were purchased,
I have.
or from where they came.
Well, I think the people at the place they were purchased came to pick up the cakes.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is right
Now, I had a question. I think it's on the next page.
You ready to go to the next page?
And it's that first question, actually. I was debating whether or not to quote the beer outlet
Yeah.
because, and why do you believe it's a business call? And then I realized, well, you want to do that to Walmart or H-E-B.
Right.
And then also on our sheet that they gave us, the word
The
the,
preview words
yeah,
was
the-
capitalized.
yeah, the word the was as if it was part of the company's
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, on the previous page.
that's, yes,
Yeah.
right here,
Okay.
it should be capitalized,
So that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. See, and this is not a direct quote either. You know, the attorney doesn't know if somebody actually said, "I'll take care of getting the drinks for the party." it's not a direct quote.
So would you just not put your quotes, but leave a comma after
Yeah,
say?
that's what I would do. You gotta be real careful with these quotes.
I guess the way I heard it made me want to put it in quotes because it was kind of like the way she was saying it, you could kind of picture her going, "I'll take care of getting it." Like it was kind of sarcastic, I guess.
Well, it's an assumption that that was even said.
Okay.
You know. I just would be real careful with these quotes because somebody could come back at you and say,
Alright.
"That's not my quote."
Yeah. Okay.
So unless the attorney says, who was it that said, quote, "I'll take care of getting the drinks for the party," end quote.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
I simply cannot tell you that I don't remember, right underneath that quote.
I would have put a period.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
If I got the I don't remember part, I would have put a period.
Ready to move on?
Make sure not to throw an apartment party anymore.
Security guards.
Yeah.
Great. Did everybody write out 20s?
Didn't get that far.
Huh?
Didn't get that far.
Oh.
Now I want to know what happened.
Oh, they fell off the balcony.
Oh.
Who fell off the balcony? Amy Platt?
Marissa and Bob fell off the balcony because there was pushing and shoving. That's what happens when you drink 4 kegs of beer.
Yeah, but between how many people?
I don't know.
Yeah, and they were only half kegs.
There were 4 of them.
That's true.
So there were only 2 kegs.
Yeah.
So how many people could an apartment hold though?
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess the bigger ones can hold
A lot.
I've been to I mean, my friends used to have apartment parties all the time, and there was at least like 30 people in an apartment.
Yeah. Not if they were living next to me.
I mean, in the army, we used to fit like 45 people in one hotel room, like one bed
How's
hotel
that
room.
enjoyable?
It was just something to get out of the barracks.
You mean you don't care, you squeezed a bunch of people in a telephone booth?
I did
Or a
squeeze-
Volkswagen Bug?
I did squeeze, I think, 12 people in my little Taurus one time, and I was freaking out.
Yeah, it would freak
the
me
whole
out
way.
too.
They had it upstairs.
See, I'd have been like, just don't go outside.
Mhm. Are we done with this one? Estella, do you go on to the next page? No, everybody's... All righty then.